Did you ever have a desire in your childhood to climb into some abandoned place? It's so mysterious, creepy, and exciting to be in the mountains or in the wilderness where you can stumble upon something completely unexpected. Probably the desire to explore the unknown is ingrained in us by nature. Let's see what amazing things a drone has captured in different abandoned places, in forests, cemeteries, and completely in nowhere. You are on the Top Facts channel, and these 20 stories can both scare and intrigue you. We wish you an exciting viewing. Well, let's go to the abandoned places. An abandoned cinema is the last thing you expect to see in the scorching desert, right? However, if you drive far enough along the highway in Egypt, you will find a real open-air cinema standing under the blazing sun in the middle of the desert. Neat rows of wooden seats for 700 and no screen. Instead, there are only desert hills waiting for the end of the heat and kisses from the setting sun. This place is known as the Seventh Art Cinema, and the harsh desert climate has aged it prematurely. Although it was built only in the 90s as a project of a French entrepreneur named Dean Edel, and the premiere show here was supposed to be Jurassic Park. However, the idea was not meant to be realized. The generator broke down, the lights went out, and the screenings never took place. Now this place is abandoned and symbolically called the Cinema of the End of the World. Perhaps you would like to get there and watch the best film of nature, the sunset in the desert. If you have traveled across the USA by plane or launched a drone in an isolated area, then perhaps you have seen these large arrows on the ground. They are easy to spot from the air. They are large enough to be clearly seen by high-flying airplanes. If you know the geolocation, you can find them on Google Maps. Why do you think were they drawn, and how important are they now? In our time, these arrows have become part of aviation history. Planes flew long before the appearance of radio radars at airports and satellite navigation on our smartphones. In those years, military aviation flights were only visual. The great idea to indicate the direction with arrows on the ground belonged to the United States Postal Service, when after World War I, they started using old army planes for mail delivery across the country. To see the direction over such a vast territory, something big and noticeable was needed. Thus, in 1924, these massive arrows appeared on the ground in various places approximately every 10 air miles. In Tucson, Arizona, there is a place that sharply contrasts with the surrounding desert landscape. Spanning over 10 square kilometers, it serves as the last refuge for 1,000 military aircraft. Lined up under the scorching sun, they have nothing left to lose. This sea of metallic wings and fuselages resembles piles of bones, aptly naming it an aircraft boneyard. Emerging after World War II, this iron boneyard took advantage of Arizona's dry climate to prevent rusting. Many aircraft were stored for future use or as a parts source for operational planes, while others were dismantled or recycled. For passers-by or aerial photographers, the boneyard offers guided tours. If you're an aviation enthusiast, it's worth a visit. Perhaps it's not the gloomiest place on Earth. In the heart of the Brazilian jungle, a massive concrete bridge soars. This monument to state wastage is known as the Petra Viaduct and represents an unfinished arch. It feels like the bridge to nowhere. Its roadway, supporting walls, tunnels, and foundation, reach 40 meters in height and stretch over 300 meters above the impenetrable underbrush. Petrobras, a Brazilian oil company under state control, began constructing the viaduct in the 1960s as an overpass for pipelines to elevate the oil pipeline above the railway. Another version suggests this section was intended to connect highways, but either way, the project was altered at the last moment, rendering the viaduct unnecessary. It has never been used, and now, before being overtaken by rampant vegetation, the bridge belongs to tourists and thrill seekers. In 2017, the residents of northern Slovenia had a serious scare when they had to evacuate due to a randomly discovered old bomb. It wasn't just any bomb, but a huge American bomb weighing 250 kilograms. Remnants of World War II seem to still lurk everywhere. This bomb was found by a man playing treasure hunt with his children. They used a metal detector, which indicated something dangerous before them. Who knows how many more surprises are hidden in the earth and beneath it, underwater, and in buildings on all territories where the war's tentacles reached. All these dormant remnants, including unexploded bombs underground, silently wait for a second chance to fulfill their deadly mission. Often they are found where they are least expected. A videographer sent a drone for a beautiful shoot in a secluded area, but instead of a picturesque landscape, he saw something unexpected and frightening. The drone discovered neat rows of tanks in the wilderness. The presence of such a quantity of armored vehicles, neatly arranged in the midst of a vast desert, clearly cannot be an optical illusion or a fabrication. The most terrifying part was that he saw a person who spotted the drone, and the operator of this footage had no choice but to leave the place as quickly as possible without getting any answers. What do you think he saw? This shiny monolith was discovered in 2020 during a routine helicopter flight in the American state of Utah. Naturally, people immediately associated its appearance with aliens, as if they left some device in a godforsaken place. Although it sounds ridiculous, the same thing happened in various countries, including Romania and Congo weeks later. Someone had placed similar monoliths all over the world. Only 3 years later, the mystery of these monoliths was solved. It turns out they were a kind of art installations, but to this day, we do not know either the names of their creators or the purpose of their creation. Recently, an enthusiast shared a photo of a supposed unidentified flying object, UFO, that he discovered in Romania. The object is partially hidden under the canopy of trees, and of course, the photo attracted skeptics who claimed it could just be a structure or a water collector. Indeed, who would park their flying saucer under the open sky, allowing any airplane or drone to easily spot it? It seems that the hypothesis about a water collector is more likely than an alien spacecraft. What do you think? Don't hesitate. There are many vast deserts on Earth where no human foot has stepped, but they can be explored using satellite images. Perhaps moving through Google Maps, you will discover something notable. We stumbled upon an unexplainable figure. In the desert of Egypt, there is a spiral consisting of holes and cones on the sand, somewhat reminiscent of massive crop circles or ancient runes from adventure movies. The pattern captivates with its potential infinity and suggests that this object was created by aliens. Some believe that the spiral is part of a forgotten ancient ritual of a vanished civilization, or even a gateway to other dimensions. Of course, any massive and unexplainable geometric formations give rise to mystical speculations, from magical energies to entities that might have placed such a giant terrestrial marker here. But let the truth not disappoint you. This project is called Desert Breath, created in 1997 by a group of female artists, a sculptor, a designer, and an architect. It covers an area of 100,000 square meters near the city of El Gouna and consists of 89 protruding cones, each corresponding to a depression in the ground. The entire project is designed to slowly self-destruct, symbolizing the passage of time. Someone is willing to put forth considerable effort to create something ephemeral, yet perfect and beautiful. In the expanse of Hillsboro in the state of Oregon, you expect to see many trees, birds, perhaps streams, but not a massive Boeing 727 in the middle of the forest. No, it did not land here, nor is it the remains of a crash. It is not even a museum. An eccentric gentleman named Bruce Campbell decided to turn the airliner into a living house. Most of us, thinking of a cozy nest, imagine a dream home differently. But Bruce used an old commercial airliner with an area of more than 300 square meters as quite a comfortable living space. Of course, the layout retains memories of flying days. The cockpit compartments and original seats remain, but there is an improvised kitchen and a full bathroom. There is plenty of sunlight from the portholes. This place seems simultaneously spacious, domesticated, and yet strange. This story is unlikely to make you want to replicate the airplane home, but tell me, isn't it the most unconventional solution to the housing problem? In the foothills of northern Italy, climbers are invited to appreciate another piece of contemporary art. At the foot of the mountains sprawls a gigantic 60-meter pink rabbit. Made of plush, as if knitted by thousands of grandmothers simultaneously, it offers a comfortable spot for relaxation and even some playful jumping. Who came up with the idea of creating such a thing, and why? A Viennese group of artists named Gelatin decided to entertain tourists with this unusual object, enabling them to admire the rabbit from above or rest on it before ascending the mountains. This rabbit, sprawled on the ground in a pose reminiscent of a suicide, is indeed just that. Its material is soon expected to completely decompose to avoid contaminating the environment. Imagine the surprise of builders during the construction of a building in the center of Zurich when they found a hollowed-out trunk of a large tree containing the remains of a Celtic woman. Likely she was not just any woman, but a noble person. She was dressed in a woolen dress, shawl, and lay on a sheepskin. It is believed that she lived a luxurious life about 2,200 years ago, in the Iron Age. A meticulous analysis of her bones showed that she grew up in this area and had a fondness for sweets, a luxury that very few could afford at her time. Her high status was also indicated by her jewelry: bronze bracelets, a chain belt, and iron accessories. Imagine seeing a person who lived in your area 20 centuries ago. Interestingly, another burial was found 100 meters away. Who could have been buried next to her, and what relationships connected the past inhabitants of these places? Scientists have yet to find answers to these questions. Imagine, late at night on the empty E63 highway, your car breaks down and, having stopped, you see a large group of silent people standing by the road. Naturally, such a sight is enough to cause a heart attack if you don't know what figures stand in the field in Finland. Amidst the tranquil rural landscape, this art installation, known as The Silent People, looks eerily haunting. Hundreds of scarecrows have frozen, facing the road, like an army. Their retro-style clothes and straw hair are quite worn, but they continue to silently observe the endless spectacle. The creator of the installation, local artist Reijo Kela, never disclosed the idea behind his creation. These guys appeared in the field at the end of the 20th century and continue to frighten tourists, seemingly embodying the social pressure and disconnection of modern humans from nature. The sight is as sad as it is absurd. 50 classic retro cars and even one airplane rest in a peculiar graveyard in the forest. This is not a car dump. Among the treasures are a Willys M38 Jeep, a once luxurious Rolls-Royce, and an elegant Jaguar, all models united by 1 year of manufacture, 1950. If the cars do not impress you, there is also a London phone booth from the same era and, additionally, a piece of the Berlin Wall. Only the airplane stands out among the other vehicles and remains unidentified, but by its propellers, it is evident that it never soared into the sky. Before you rush to conclusions, let us tell you about this exhibition. A German millionaire named Michael Freck adored classic cars, and in celebration of his 50th birthday in 2000, he acquired 50 vehicles from the year 1950 to park them in the forest and leave them to be consumed by nature. In North Wales, there is a place that could have been a set for a disaster movie. An old slate mine opened in the early 1800s and operated until 1906, then reopened and was fully exhausted by 1971. The mine was flooded, and since then it has been called the Cave of Lost Souls. People found no better use for the remaining space than to arrange an epic dump in the cave's sinkhole, a graveyard of retired cars and broken appliances. Apparently it was cheaper than legally disposing of them, and at all times people could not resist the temptation to litter. Now photographers from all over the world flock here for colorful posters. Picturesque Belgian landscapes set a lyrical mood. Fields, winding roads, villages, and perhaps deer. A typical picture for a traveler. However, if you were to wander into a little place called Châtillon near the French border, you would long remember the local attraction. A graveyard of classic American cars, abandoned deep in the forest. The myth long lived that the cars belonged to soldiers liberating Europe from the Nazis. In reality, their owners were Canadians who came here en masse with all their possessions due to the construction of a new military base in France, which was soon disbanded. Some of the cars were bought by local collectors, but many remained in the dump in the forest. This place has become a real magnet for junk car enthusiasts and photographers, but even during the day, it is quite dismal and unpromising. In the icy kingdom of Norway, on the Svalbard archipelago, the edge of a structure reminiscent of a secret base or an artistic installation is visible from the ground. Don't think it's another townhouse of some strange billionaire. Why would anyone build such a complex building where frost rages and polar bears roam? In fact, this construction represents an extremely important facility for the entire planet. It's humanity's insurance policy against agricultural disasters. The Doomsday Vault is Earth's treasure trove. Its contents are incomparable to all the gold and gems in the world. Inside this warehouse, seeds, samples of crops from all corners of the globe, are collected. To protect against the loss of biodiversity of our planet, this vault must have backup copies of everything that grows on Earth. This frozen bank should become a reliable refuge from temperature fluctuations and natural disasters. The perpetual permafrost ensures the preservation of seeds even without electricity, and its altitude guarantees that they will remain dry. Even if all the ice on Earth melts, the remoteness of the location promises minimal human interference and gives us chances for life continuation even in global cataclysms. Holland Island is an island in the Chesapeake Bay, located in the American state of Maryland. The island is swampy and gradually deteriorating, but there is still the last house remaining from a once thriving settlement. At the turn of the 19th and 20th centuries, there was a lot of land, churches, and schools were built, and everyday life buzzed, but erosion began to gradually take the land away from the settlers. As the ocean encroached on the land, people left and simply abandoned their homes, and by the end of the 20th century, most of the land had been swallowed by the swamp, and the island became uninhabited. I don't want to disappoint you, but in 2010, this house also collapsed, undermined by the incoming water, but these frames remain a testament to its resilience. Those of you who dream of secluding themselves in a castle on a small island of their own kingdom should come and see how it works in reality. The fairy tale castle called McDermott's Castle is located on Castle Island, a famous Irish landscape known since the 12th century and the residence of the local McDermott kings. Since then, like many castles, it has undergone sieges, battles, reconstructions, and also floods. Part of the island's land has gone underwater. In the 19th century, whimsical and impractical architectural elements were added to the structure, but to this day the castle stands in desolation in the middle of a lonely island. Tourists are attracted by the mysterious charm of a bygone era, and they make boat trips to explore the secluded historical ruins and immerse themselves in the atmosphere of kings, knights, and troubadours. In the town of Gold Hill, in the American state of Oregon, in the forest, there is the House of Mystery, a place where the usual laws of physics and reason retreat before the phenomenon of the Oregon vortex. A circular platform about 50 meters in diameter is a paranormal zone, balls roll uphill, brooms stand vertically without any support, and people seem taller or shorter depending on their position within the circle. The House of Mystery defies gravity and continues to stand despite its seemingly impossible slanted construction. Some say that powerful Earth energies or magnetic fields are at work here, others hint at parallel universes, and some even whisper about an ancient Native American curse. The closest to a real explanation of the Oregon vortex phenomenon is this. There is a whirlpool of force on this land, which plays with your point of view, creating optical illusions. If you have any theories about this, now is the time to share them in the comments below. An unusual architectural land art object appeared in the American state of Texas in 2005. Scandinavian artists Michael Elmgreen and Ingar Dragset created a Store of the World brand in the Chihuahuan Desert. The boutique is called Prada Marfa and is located on the outskirts of the town of Valentine. Although it is impossible to enter or even buy anything there, the minimalist building is a well-known attraction in Texas. Most likely, the idea of such an absurd mismatch was to show the contrast between the reality of the wild nature and the ephemeral nature of high fashion, consumer culture elevated to the status of an idol. To live, luxury is not needed. This is what the sign at the entrance conveys. The combination of the iconic boutique with the harsh desert landscape is so surreal that it resembles the living paintings of Salvador Dali. Imagine driving through the desert at night and suddenly seeing a luxury store. Anyone might suspect that it is a hallucination. And who would think of shopping here, except perhaps aliens? Nevertheless, this place is worth visiting if you are an art lover, Instagrammer, or just want to make sure you have not gone mad, and that this is indeed a store in the desert. So friends, these were the most incredible, strange, and sometimes even creepy things captured by a drone. If you liked the episode and you want to see something similar, then hit the like button, write comments, and don't forget to subscribe to the Top Facts channel. Thank you for watching and check out our previous top episodes.